Welcome, everybody, to the October meeting of the EAC. Is anybody able to take notes and do some minutes?
Since I only have a couple, you want to do it, Colleen? Okay.
Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate that. So just a quick couple of things to get out of the way here. I have a couple of past meeting minutes that I circulated before the meeting. If folks have had a chance to look at that, I haven't heard any suggestions for any changes. So if anyone wants to make a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
All right, approved. Thank you. We would like to welcome a new EAC member, Colleen Price. We're glad to have you. Very excited to have you joining us. As part of our ritual, when somebody comes in that's new, we like to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a long-time resident.
Oh, and hit the button.
I'm a longtime resident of Radnor, and I used to live at 352 Shimoni Road, and I actually was going to subdivide my property, and I came in and they sent me to the EAC, and the EAC, well, maybe you said you might want to think about that, and maybe you want to do some sort of a conservation easement. And I remember being very indignant. Who were they to tell me anything? And I ended up doing a conservation easement. So it really was a big turning point, and it made me think about what your place is in the world. So I thought the EAC was a great group, and I'm happy to join it.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And I'm a real estate attorney. I've worked for a number of companies, and right now I work for Brandywine Realty Trust, which is probably the biggest commercial operator in Radnor Township. Yeah.
Great, glad to have you. Welcome. We've got a fairly small crew today. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more attendance next time around. A few announcements to start with. I've got just a couple of things. The Radnor Conservancy, in collaboration with Chanticleer and Audubon, PA, is doing a 3-part series called Ecology in Your Backyard. And their last session, they've already had a couple of those. The last one is this Saturday, the 28th, from 9 to 11. They still have vacancies for that. The cost is $45, and it's a workshop on native plants. They have someone coming in to teach you about what's living in your backyard. Looks really interesting. And I think I'll skip ahead a little bit because I know Skip is not going to be here, no pun intended. There is going to be, at the November planning meeting, a new plan proposed by Penn for the biomed development. So if folks are interested in following that, that might be something to keep an eye out for. Does anybody else have any other announcements?
I just wanted to mention that I took some electronics to the electronics recycling event, which was I think it was this past weekend. No, it might have been 2 weekends ago, actually. And no, it was this past weekend.
I think it was this past weekend.
Yeah, it was this past weekend. And they also had a paper shredding station there as well. And there was a line out to the street, out to Ivan Avenue here. It was very well attended. And I couldn't believe the amount of electronics that were stacked up on pallets. Stunning, really stunning. So that's good news in that people are remembering that you cannot put those kind of things in the regular trash. It's now not allowed in Pennsylvania. And it's also good that people are remembering that this was the place to come. So I think we should probably follow up when we can with the township to find out how many pounds or tons or whatever were collected, and report back on the success and find out maybe when the next one is. I don't know if it's every 6 months or if it's once a year or what they're doing these days, but anyway, well attended.
Yep, I agree. I went to it as well, and I was impressed. So much stuff that people have in their homes. It's unbelievable. And I know I've had some recent conversations about these kinds of events. One of the challenges, I think, is that there's less funding for them than there used to be. In the past, I think electronics manufacturers have had to pay some additional fees to the state to fund some of these events, and I don't think that's happening, at least not at the same rate. So it can be a challenge to find them, and I'm grateful that the township has put this together because it certainly took some organization.
So who pays? Is it the township pays for these events?
I assume so, and I've asked the question but haven't heard an answer yet. So I'll follow up with the folks that manage that stuff and see if I can find out how they put this together. Thank you for that. Dan's not here, so we won't talk about sustainable parks. Josh, are you involved in the Sustainable PA Community Certification?
Yeah, no, actually, the only thing I have done to help with this is poke Sloan to find out whether he has heard anything from Bob Zinkowski or from Jen DeStefano about how our application is for that program, and he's heard nothing back from them. I suspect that means probably no progress has been made since the last time we poked them, which was about a month ago. Not sure what the next step is on how to, herd that thing forward, whether we should volunteer some of our time to see if we can do it or what, but it's been slow progress, unfortunately.
Okay, thanks for the update.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know more.
No, that's good to know, and we can certainly follow up with those folks. I'd like to see, since you're going to be rotating out soon, maybe we can find somebody else who can volunteer to run that effort, and I'll circulate it with this group and see if we can get somebody. It sounds to me like it's not a huge effort in terms of time and energy. I know from conversations with some of the other townships, they've found this to be a worthwhile process, and this is, the township is nominally behind it, so I guess maybe it's a matter of figuring out how to move it forward.
I mean, I'd be happy to follow up on that.
Thank you, Colleen,
take
that'd be
that.
great.
Cool. I'll reach out with Colleen and fill you in, and
Okay,
maybe we can start this off together.
okay.
Super. Last week, I attended a summit that was held by the Haverford Township EAC. It was for local EACs in the area. It was very well attended. We had folks from Haverford, obviously, from, I think, Marple, Newtown. There were some folks from TE. And there was also a pretty good contingent from the Darby Creek Valley Association, which is not an EAC, but they do a lot of water quality management stuff. And as a result of that, I think there was a lot of discussion about water quality. In general, I think, a lot of conversation around how do you get things moving in your township, how do you get traction both with, sort of the local administration as well as with citizens, and how do you get the word out about things. Not sure we heard a lot of great solutions, but a lot of similar challenges in terms of, getting volunteers to step up and help with some of these projects. And I think it's a great network. They should be circulating a list of emails so we can stay in touch with those folks. One of the things that I heard was from the Tredifferent folks, some interest in writing grants to fund projects. I offered to talk to them about our recent experience with the DEP education grant, and there may be some opportunities for us to collaborate or to just kind of talk through some of those strategies. I found that a worthwhile thing. They'll probably do another one of those in a year. But it's good to know local townships around the area are all sort of dealing with a lot of the same things that we're dealing with here. We talked a little bit about recycling as well. That came up quite a bit, and the fact that, as sort of the kinds of things that you can recycle change, you've got to keep people updated and educated on what you can throw in and what you can't. So I thought that was a good meeting. Any other reports or updates? Okay. I'll give a very brief update on the Stream Science program, which is funded through our DEP grant. Andrea Quinn's been running the ITHN after-school club, and it sounds like they've got one more session. That sounds like it's been going really well. And Jim, I appreciate your help in kind of getting some help from DCVA, and was there another group, I think, from PEC?
It's the Pennsylvania Resource Council.
That's right.
And we've gotten the permission through the township to have them do presentations at any township school. So going forward, if new clubs or whatever iteration comes up, I think they're willing to help out as well. Because they have a grant just for that, the PRC does.
That's great, and I appreciate your kind of running that down. From your perspective, what's been the highlight of the program so far?
Just kids like to play in streams. It's pretty simple, They like microscopes and stuff too, but you really can't beat playing in a stream.
Gotta agree with that. So, all right. We don't have any liaison reports. I already talked about the planning commission. Any old business that needs to be brought up? Okay. Any new business? This might be the world's shortest meeting.
Yeah.
6:08.
6:08, boy. All right, and there's
Pledge again?
nobody here for public comment, so, well, we've got some things to follow up on, and, certainly if you guys have suggestions for new initiatives or new things that you want to work on, I'm all ears. I'm very conscious of the fact that we're spread a little bit thin, and just getting enough folks to get a quorum can be a challenge at some of these meetings, so we want to make sure we keep moving forward. Josh is only going to be with us for a couple more meetings. We'll have another vacancy, one more.
One.
So,
It's important to mention that we only have one meeting left this year.
oh, that's a really good point, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have the combined November and December
Yeah, so
meetings.
there's no meeting in November, and I think it's the first Tuesday in December. Does that sound right?
It does
Well,
sound right.
we'll confirm that, but I think it's the first Tuesday in December.
Is there a mechanism to get the word out that we do need members, or do you just wait for volunteers?
It's a good question. I think we sort of rely on people's personal networks. There should be an announcement on the Radnor Township website, but I don't know that everyone looks at that regularly.
There-
Colleen,
there-
how did you find out?
I was at a meeting about the Willows presentation, and they said that there was an opening, and
Okay, great.
I volunteered then.
You were at a meeting, which meeting?
About redoing the Willows Mansion.
So it was a commissioners
It was a
meeting?
commissioners meeting,
Oh, okay,
and they announced what the vacancies were.
great, okay. There's a spot on the website that just has all the vacancies listed, and I just can't seem to put my finger on that spot on the website. I've
Okay.
seen it before, though. We should make sure we have our two spots.
The
one or two
website
spots.
isn't the easiest to navigate. in the
That-
world.
I
I've
would
had
agree with
trouble
that.
finding things on there in the past.
I wonder if we should think about other ways to get the word out. I know I've reached out to one or two people, but, folks are busy. We could try to use social media. We could try to just talk to 3 friends and see if anybody's interested. You guys have any suggestions?
That's good.
Just ask everyone to reach out and see if they can find somebody.
someone, right. I thought someone else had already applied for the EAC too. And-
Sarah Pilling expressed an interest. I don't know if
Okay.
she's applied yet. She was here at the last
Okay,
meeting. And we'd love to have her,
right.
but we'll still have one more person after Josh leaves, so. So, yeah, let's beat the bushes.
Okay,
All right, motion to adjourn?
yes.
Second?
Second,
Let's do it. Thanks, everyone.
thanks.